Hi Steve, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
How much of that did you get before? Did you?
You said you wanted to talk to me about what I do, and that's all I got.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Um, First of all, I'm going to introduce you and everything, but just to give you an overview of what kind of questions I'll be asking, I'll just start off by asking you how you got into the work that you do, and then move on to specifically about social anxiety. And I'm sure you've treated people with social anxiety and similar kind of issues. And how hypnosis works on that, and then any other tips that you may have for people with these kind of issues. And then I can mention your site again, and if people want to check you out and check out some of your downloads and all that. So
Okay. Are we doing a video interview or audio?
Audio for now. It seems when I record video calls, it seems to crash, so I'll just do audio for now. And if you want a copy of this, I'll send it over, no problem, if you need it for anything.
Okay.
All right, awesome. So I'll just introduce you, and then we'll get into it.
Let me go over a few things before we begin. These days we brand me as Dr. Steve G. Jones.
Okay.
If after that you want to refer to me as Steve, that's fine, not a problem. And the website, I have many websites, but the website I'd like to mention is stevegjones.com.
Okay, yeah, that's the one.
All right, sounds great.
Awesome, okay. Welcome, guys. It's Steve Light from Leading Light TV. And my special guest today is Dr. Steve G. Jones, clinical hypnotherapist. And the reason I wanted to speak to Steve was, he's experienced in hypnotherapy over the past, 25 years, and helped many people with different issues. And, I'm into hypnosis myself, and just wanted to show you guys how you can use hypnosis to relieve your anxieties and gain more confidence. So welcome, Steve. How are you doing today, mate?
Oh, great, Steve. Thanks for having me here.
My pleasure. So I just wanted to start off by asking you how you got into this field of work. What have you always wanted to help people? How did it all start off for you?
Well, I was just concerning getting into hypnosis. I was in military school, Riverside Military Academy in Gainesville, Georgia, and my parents sent me there. And a lot of parents threatened to send their kids to boarding school or military school, but mine followed through. And so I was there, and I was bored, and I was stuck, and I got a book on hypnosis by a guy named Dr. Leslie Lacron, who's no longer with us. It was called A Complete Guide to Hypnosis. It was anything but complete, but it was enough to get a teenage kid in high school started on his path. So I started hypnotizing my roommates in military school, and soon the smart kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently, and the athletes came to me wanting to get more out of their exercise session. And all these years later, that was in about 1982, all these years later, I'm still doing the same thing, except the smart kids are NASA, and the athletes are the Dodgers baseball team.
Oh, wow. So it just came, you came across a book out of boredom, really. That's so cool.
Exactly.
You started to really enjoy it, and
right.
I guess you've got a dream job. You just love what you're doing, and you're helping people every day. That must be amazing.
Yeah, it's an awesome job.
So you've been helping people for many years, and there's so many different techniques out there and everything, and I'm sure you've worked with many people who describe themselves as having social anxiety or something related. In a nutshell, how do you deal with those kinds of people? Is there a common theme with these people's fears and insecurities?
There is. Lately I charge quite a bit, so I have more of a celebrity clientele over the last 10 years or so. But even when I had my office in Beverly Hills, obviously I was drawing a celebrity clientele then. And the issues of the particular people who I work with, since they are mostly actors and directors and owners of large production companies, mostly what they're working on is the social anxiety. The way it shows up for them is, believe it or not, actors have a lot of social anxiety. In fact, that's many times why they go into acting. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, if you see an actor in an interview, they won't do very well because nobody's telling them what to say, and nobody's telling them how to act, and nobody's giving them a point of view or a motivation. So they're just kind of this almost this empty blob sometimes. And so they need a little boost sometimes when they go into social situations. And people who go into directing and people who become owners of production companies generally tend to have the same thing. That's why they stay behind the camera, because they're not very good in social situations. So I work with a lot of these folks when it comes time to deliver a speech or to address a live audience or something like that. And what I found to be true of them is also true of the general population, which is just an insecurity that comes from childhood. That seems to be at the essence of it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can relate to that myself. The many people I've spoke to who have come to my groups, it starts in school, and you're afraid to speak up in class, and someone might laugh at you when you read out loud or something, and it triggers something, doesn't it? And it is seemingly hard to shift. So how does the for people who are not very familiar with hypnosis, how does this process work when you're treating your clients?
Well, it's a very simple process. Hypnosis itself, first of all, hypnosis is just like the state you go in when you read a book or drive or watch TV, or when you're just about to fall asleep or just about to wake up. You can be in it without realizing you're in it. Your brain slows down to something called alpha, which is slower than full awakening consciousness, which is beta, but it's virtually indetectable. So a person will go in and out of hypnosis all day long. The only difference between that process and when you go into a hypnotherapist's office, there are two differences. Number one, the hypnotherapist is causing you to go in that state by using relaxing words. And number two, they are using their words in such a way as to enhance your life, putting positive suggestions into your mind. But other than those differences, it's just like you would experience any given day. You would go in and out of hypnosis. So the way confidence works is I just put them into a hypnotic state, and I tell them to think about all those labels they've gotten. You mentioned someone talking in class and then maybe getting laughed at and being upset. Well, we all have experiences like that have happened from time to time, and it's a matter of targeting those and eliminating those, sort of like the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, starring Jim Carrey, where they had developed a technology which would go into the brain and zap unwanted memories and remove them, or at least corrupt them. So that's the idea, that we're altering these unwanted memories and then replacing them with thoughts of power and confidence.
Fantastic. So I hear that in your experience, is there some people who can't be hypnotized? Because I've just heard from other people that some people are not susceptible to it. Have you found that, or have you found that you haven't had trouble in doing that?
Well, the research shows that everyone is susceptible, or as I like to say, suggestible to hypnosis. And there's something called the Harvard scale of hypnotic susceptibility, which was developed in the U.S. by the schools Harvard and Stanford. And they got together and put together a scale based on some questions, and it's a self-report scale. So you assess yourself. You read through the questions, you decide the answers, and then you put yourself on a scale, and it gives you a numeric value. Everyone falls on that scale. The way I look at it is sort of like electrical conductivity. Every substance on the planet Earth will conduct electricity. Every substance. Some will do it very well, like metal. Some will do it very poorly, like wood. But every substance will conduct electricity. So it's sort of like that when you think of suggestibility or susceptibility. how suggestible is someone, how likely are they to go into hypnosis, how much will they potentially benefit from a hypnosis session. Everyone has a numeric value. No one is a 0 on that scale. Everyone has at least some ability to be hypnotized. Some people are, yes, more suggestible than others. Some people are less suggestible. But with a little bit of work, we can all get the benefit we want from a hypnotherapy session.
Okay, that's really interesting. So what advice would you give anyone listening to this who's thinking of trying hypnotherapy and hasn't done so? Would it be as effective listening to an audio download of hypnotherapy to get a taster for it, or do you think in your experience does it work better face to face with a professional hypnotherapist?
Well, it definitely works better face to face, but you have to kind of make a list of the pros and cons. In the pro column, and we're talking about going to a hypnotherapist's office. Let's look at that first. Well, the advantage is the hypnotherapist will make a recording for you, hopefully, for you to take home, with your name in it, with your specific information in it, with what's going on with you. Whereas in a canned session, a recorded session, you won't have all of that. The cons are you have to drive there. You have to drive to a hypnotherapist's office. You have to spill all kinds of information about your personal life. You have to pay more because you're paying for their time. You have to take time off work or time off from something else you were otherwise going to do to go there. So that's the negative side of it. So you have to weigh it out. Now, when we look at a hypnotherapy recording, the positive side is that you can just download it. You can go to a website and download it. You don't even have to wait anymore in the mail. When I first started this business, we had cassette tapes, and you'd have to mail order them. Then we had CDs. Now we have MP3s. You can download them and put them right on your phone if you want, and listen to them right away. So that's a real upside to it. The downside, of course, as I mentioned, is it's not going to be specific to you. But then again, you don't have to go to an office. You don't have to disclose personal information about what you're going through. And you can also rely on the fact that the hypnotherapist has probably put their best information on that. For example, if it's about weight loss, if someone's experienced working with weight loss clients like myself, then they know that these 10 things work most of the time, and they've got all 10 of those techniques on that recording. So you can rest assured that with a competent and experienced hypnotherapist, you've got a lot of powerful information on that recording.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. So off the top of your head, have you got any specific downloads that you could recommend for anyone listening to this on your website?
Well, on my website, stevegjones.com, what I would recommend, since I have the world's largest collection of downloads, I have 9,000 recordings, I would recommend going to the search tool and typing in what it is you're working on. And you'll find a number of ways to tackle that. I've got daytime recordings, I've got subliminal recordings, I've got long nighttime recordings, hypnosis recordings, short nighttime hypnosis recordings. So I would first start by typing in whatever it is you're working on: losing weight, stopping smoking, overcoming fear of flying, becoming more motivated, overcoming any number of fears. Just type it in. We've got 250 topics on there. And the reason I have 9,000 recordings is because we do different treatments with the recordings, such as I mentioned, daytime recordings, subliminal, long hypnosis, short hypnosis, that sort of thing.
Wow, that's fantastic. So just, you mentioned there briefly about hypnosis recordings when you're going to sleep. Some last for a period of time, take you into the hypnotic state and then wake you up. What is the difference between doing something that brings you in and out of the state as opposed to leaving it on when you go to sleep?
I think I'm not sure what you mean. Can you repeat that, please?
That's okay. Yeah, so from my experience, you can listen to hypnosis tracks which take you into a relaxed state, take you through a certain journey, then wake you up from that state, so you're into a waking state.
Right.
And then you also get, like you mentioned, you have the tracks that you play before you go to bed, and then you fall asleep when you're listening to it.
Right.
Is there any difference between doing the two kinds of styles? What is the benefit of leaving it on, just before you go to sleep?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you can do either just before you go to sleep. So just to clarify, we're talking about two types of recording with two types of transterminations, as we call it. One hypnosis recording would end with you waking up at the end, getting counted up to 3, 1, 2, 3, wake up, that type of thing. The other one would end with now drift off to sleep and wake up in the morning. And your question is, if you listen to one, is one better than the other? I think is that correct?
Along those lines, yeah. I was just interested in the differences, really.
Okay. The only difference that I know of is, would be the differences we've explained, which is, on one you wake up at the end, another one you go to sleep at the end.
Okay. Is there any benefit to doing it before bed, and the ones that carry on while you're sleeping? You still taking the suggestions while you're sleeping?
Okay, gotcha. You can do either one before you go to sleep. Some people listen to hypnosis recordings that wake them up at the end, right before they go to sleep, which I don't advise. I recommend you listen to them at bedtime, and they don't wake you up then, let you sleep through the night. As far as it mattering, I don't think so. I mean, it matters to me. I like to keep sleeping. As far as the suggestion, so let's say now with either one of them, anytime you listen to a hypnosis recording, you can fall asleep. So it's not guaranteed that even though the hypnosis recording at the end is going to wake you up, that you're going to stay awake during it. But we don't really mind the
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, sorry, someone else Skyped in, and I tried to handle them and get rid of them, but it knocked me completely off Skype. Let me see if I can set this to do not bother or what have you. Sorry about that. We're not live, are we?
That's all right. No, it's okay.
Okay, set this to do not disturb. Okay, cool. We are all set, and I am back. And what were we discussing? I'm sorry. The sleeping thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll figure out something to say. Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So to sum up, I would say that you can listen to either recording at nighttime. My recordings are designed to let you fall asleep. So if you fall asleep, that used to be a big question. Is it as powerful if you do fall asleep? And the answer is yes, it is. A professor named Professor Hilgard up at UC Davis, University of California, the Davis campus near San Francisco, took on that question a number of years ago. And he concluded that you still do get the effectiveness of the hypnosis session. Now, the reason is that your eyes close, but your ears don't. Your ears stay open all the time. So if you hear something that doesn't belong in your environment while you're sleeping, for example, you will wake up immediately, and you'll be ready to defend your home. Mother hearing a baby crying will wake up. Well, why is that? That's because we don't ever actually completely sleep. Our ears stay open. And because they do, they act as sort of a surveillance camera, if you will, monitoring our environment. Because they do that, they also have the ability to record what's going on. So you may notice that you have a dream, for example, about a phone ringing. You wake up later and you find out, yeah, the phone rang and you missed a call. And it got put into your dream. That was recorded in your brain, and it became part of your dream. So because of our ability to do that, it really doesn't matter if we fall asleep. So whether you're listening to something at night, you fall asleep or don't fall asleep, it's fine either way.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a big question. Thank you for clearing that up.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to go and listen listen to your track tonight and fall asleep to it. It's,
There you go. That's what I do. You just press play and don't think about anything.
Yeah, thank you for your time today, Steve. Really enjoyed our little chat.
Oh, my pleasure, Steve. Thank you. A great name, by the way. I love your name.
Thank you so much.
And your last name is Light. I like that too. I wish I had been named that. I got a generic name of Jones. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, so if anyone listening to this, if you want to check out Steve's huge library of downloads, you can go to stevegjones.com. And if you want to post any questions about the video, just post a comment below the video, and then we'll see if I can answer it for you. Yeah, so thanks again, Steve. I will we'll be in touch and let you know when the video's up. And if there's anything in the meantime, just drop me an email.
Hey, did you want?
Sorry about that.
Did you want to do a wrap up? Sound like you're.
Yes, please. Yeah. The last tiny bit didn't record.
Okay.
Is it okay if you just mention the bit about the guy who did the study about listening to hypnosis while sleeping? That was a really good point, and then I'll just finish up. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Cool. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, to answer the question about the efficacy or the power of hypnosis when you fall asleep, let's say you fall asleep listening to a hypnosis recording, Professor Hilgard up at the University of California, Davis campus, which is near San Francisco, it's near Berkeley, he did some research on this a while back, taking on that question, what if someone falls asleep while listening to a hypnosis session or while in hypnosis? Do they still get the full effect? And the answer is yes. Now, the reason is very interesting. The reason is that your ears, they are not able to close. Now, your eyes can close. Your eyes can close as you go to sleep, but your ears stay open. And because they do, they act as sort of a surveillance camera of your environment. They're monitoring everything, even as you quote-unquote sleep. So, for example, if a noise happens in your home that doesn't belong there, you will be alerted right away so that you can attend to that. Perhaps it's a burglar, perhaps it's nothing at all, but you will be notified so you can wake up fully and attend to it. If a mother hears a baby crying, she will wake up and go attend to the baby. Now, the reason for that is that we're never really sleeping. Part of us is awake, and that's our hearing. Our ears stay open, and that's for survival and survival of our offspring. And because of that, it also has the ability to record. Perhaps you've had a dream where you hear a phone and you answer the phone and you're talking on the phone, only to wake up later and find out that the phone rang and you actually missed a phone call. Well, what happened is that the phone rang in reality and it became recorded. The sound became recorded in your brain. So because of that, we know, and because of course, clinical trials, clinical experiments and research, we know that the brain will record information as we sleep. And that's great news for those listening to hypnosis recordings who fall asleep, because that means that you can fall asleep and your brain will still take in and record all of the information on that hypnosis recording.
That's really interesting. So, yeah, I'll be definitely listening to one of your tracks that I've got this evening, and I won't worry about falling asleep now, because I know I'll still be listening.
There you go. Just go ahead, press play. Don't worry about a thing.
All right, Steve, I'm just going to finish up. So, really appreciate your time today. I've enjoyed our little chat, and I hope it helps the people who are listening to it. So, thanks for your time.
Oh, my pleasure, Steve. Thanks for making this possible.
You're welcome. And again, guys, anyone listening to this, if you want to check out Steve's large hypnosis library, go to stevegjones.com. and just type in the search box any issue you're looking to get help with, and I'm sure there'll be a solution for you on there. So again, Steve, thanks for your time, and have a good rest of your day.
You too, Steve. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.